Welcome to Gregorian Chat.
Kia ora!
Kia ora!
Welcome to Gregorian Chat. Episode
Bienvenuto.
something. I don't know why we keep saying episode.
Well, we've been doing it every week up until now.
That's right.
But now times are changing.
So this is
I'll
an
still be the
episode of
same.
Gregorian Chat.
This is an episode.
But what we started doing is making a little bit of a backlog of episodes.
Yeah.
Because I have to leave chaplaincy.
He's
Unfortunately,
going,
I'm going to be
yes.
very busy over the summer, so we're not going to have much time. But anyway, we are here with you today, and it's so good to be with you guys. We enjoy
Yes.
doing this podcast very much.
Yes, it's one of my favourite things, and I'm going to one day leave chaplaincy and carry on with the podcast. So if you would like to donate so that we could do that, that'd be great.
In fact, Dom and I are thinking of buying a house together. As we said before, our wives could also choose to live with us if they
Yes.
so wanted to.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to purchase a house somewhere in Waiheke and just podcast.
That's what we're going to do. We're just going to live. Actually, we'd fit right into the Waiheke community if we were doing that.
This is true.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. So what's been happening with you recently that's super exciting, Dom?
Well, I'll tell you just after I tell everyone what the title is. How about that?
Oh,
Because then they'll know to stick around.
yes, definitely.
I'll tell them, I swear. I'll tell you.
Okay.
The title of today's podcast is something along the lines of the swearing issue. Is swearing an issue?
I don't know. It is, yes. Probably.
What's the issue with swearing?
What's the issue with swearing?
What's the issue with swearing?
Bad language. It's bad, I swear.
It's bad language. I used to write cursive. Is that wrong? As in, like, every time I'd write, there would just be swear words kind of like spread throughout the writing.
And every time I'd write, someone would come in and put swear words in there just to see if I'd read over it properly. And I never did. Failed a lot of papers. No,
Really?
that didn't happen.
Oh, that'd be an awesome story.
Yeah, it would have. Well, not so awesome.
But anyway, what have I been up to lately?
That's exciting.
I've been getting ready for the summer. The summer is, I'm going to be doing 8 weeks of intensive training, so it's going to be interesting. Get to go home to Nelson for a week for Christmas, which is going to be wonderful. What else? I've been playing a lot of golf lately.
Yeah?
Yeah, my wife Laura and I have been getting into golf this year.
Hole in one, didn't you get?
I did.
Hole in one. So
Yeah.
he had to change his trousers because he got a hole in one.
They were a bit green. Let's just say.
Fair
I
enough.
spilled tea on them.
Yeah. You pitching me some more ideas there?
Wow.
So, that's very
I'm
good.
going to putter some tea in my...
Speaking of tea, we have a very exciting tea. This smells amazing. It's called Mulled Wine Magic.
And this is probably going to be released
Mulled
closer to
wine
Christmas time.
magic.
So,
Wine tea.
this is exactly why I wanted to get this tea, because it's like, for me, they actually had a Christmas tea at T2 as well. And I thought mulled wine is actually more of like the epitome of Christmas.
Totally.
Like Christmas tea. So
Yeah. You don't have like Christmas at Christmas. Christmas happens and you
That's
have
right.
mulled wine.
What have you been up to, Dom?
Well, what have I been up to? Just trying to, come to terms with the fact that you won't be here next year. In fact, next week.
I know.
That's been pretty difficult. I've got friends coming over from the UK over Christmas, which is quite exciting. So we'll try and figure out what to do with them. And then we also spoke to...
Yeah.
This is super exciting. The founder of Catholic Teen Posts on Instagram and on YouTube, a lovely lass called Kaylin, all the way from Texas.
Kaylin talking about the bot flies.
The bot flies, if you've heard what they are, please do comment below, because apparently lots of people from Texas aren't coming to New Zealand based on these insects, which I don't think exist.
Yeah. We're
In
like,
New Zealand anyway.
incest isn't even a thing in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But anyway, it probably is. This is probably one of the best smelling teas I've ever had on the podcast. Anyway, let's crack on. Crack on. We're talking about swearing. We're going to try not to swear in this podcast itself.
Well, yeah. I try my best all the time.
It's so darn hard. Now that brings up the first question: is darn a swear word? Is boodles? Is heck? Is crap?
Yeah, because this is one of the things that's happened to me. Like, I swear a lot. I'm from the north of England, and swearing is just, it's what you do.
So it's where you are that counts.
It's where you are. And, it's how we greet each other. It's how we say goodbye to each other. It's how we show affection. Swearing is just a way of life up north in England. The further north you get, the less language is used and the more bad language is used. However, so I've tried to stop swearing, being in various ministry roles. And I feel like I should be showing a good example, or looking after kids, you know. So I try to stop swearing. So I use other words. Like one word I use is tuppence, which is an old English.
Mary Poppins, right? Isn't that currency?
Yeah, like two pence.
Tuppence.
So I was like, tuppence, and but then people were saying, you know, just because you're changing the word doesn't make it any better. So it's still swearing. It's like, I'm literally saying 2 pence. It's not bad.
I couldn't give tuppence either.
I don't have tuppence. There's my 2 pence. Anyway, that's my 2 pence on that.
Yeah, so that idea that like it's not what you say necessarily, but it's the fact that you're saying it and you like how you say it.
I think people are being a bit too scrupulous on that kind of thing.
You just said scrupulous, but
scrupulous. So I think that's something that's annoyed me a lot.
Okay.
Because I've you know you need to have a kind of like a wean you off kind of drug.
A wean you off drug to swearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing. And so I guess let's just say at the beginning of this podcast, 6 minutes in, there are questions we could ask about swearing. You know, like is swearing. Is the fact that it's wrong, does that depend on the what, so what you're saying, the how you say it, the where you say it, the when you say it, and all the why you say it?
Right.
So there's 5 questions. I was going to say they're all
the context essentially.
Yeah, because in England, like you guys, or Scotland, they might say bollocks, you know, which like doesn't mean anything here in New Zealand.
Does it not?
Not really. Somebody will say something like, oh, this is the 3rd time you've come in here today and you've stolen something every time. I say, bollocks. No, it's not. It isn't like that, just means ridiculous.
Right.
But
it means testicles.
That's the thing. And so, and in the same way, people here in New Zealand say the word bugger.
Yes.
Sorry if you're offended by that, but I'm making a point here, which is in New Zealand, people use it and there have been adverts on TV of a dog saying bugger, you know. And it's, I guess, maybe just used so much that you don't realise what it means.
Yeah. Well, even the bloody legend adverts. It's like bloody legend. It's like if you wouldn't have that in the UK because we know it's a swear word. Now we swear, but we're in denial about it. Okay. That's pretty much England. It's like we get absolutely wasted, but we're in denial about it, so we only do it on Fridays. Okay. And then we have binge drinking as a culture. That's a different podcast. So, but yeah. So I think it is context relevant, but I think also we need to think about what we're actually saying. Like you saying with bollocks, you know, it's like that's just like ridiculous. However, if you actually translate it to what it actually means, it's like testicles. So if you're in that same situation, it's all like, testicles, I haven't done that today. And it's like, no, that's not really, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things, when I think about what's the issue with swearing, because I was watching Downton Abbey, and in Downton Abbey, you know, they're very proper and they live in a mansion and they're up at the highest class, basically. And so there are certain words and certain manners of behaviour and stuff that you're looking at my hair funny.
I wasn't.
Okay. There are certain... you keep looking up. There are certain things that they just don't do in the house because it's improper. For instance, one woman comes in who's a new servant, and I feel like you are looking at
I'm just not going to look at you anymore.
And this woman comes in and she goes, she's talking about one of the other slaves, and she said, not slaves, sorry, servants, and she says, well, she used to be a prostitute, and they're all like, she said the P word, you know, and they're like, what? Pepper? Yeah, pimple? But it's like, that is improper because according to their way of living and according to their standards as a family and as a society, that bringing those kinds of words into the house, in a sense, kind of like carries a certain authority, or carries, not authority, but presence, I think. And that's something that I think we need to think about in terms of swearing is another example we'll probably come to later, which is like, words have power, and so I think when you say a word, right, a word in itself doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's a sound coming from your mouth. But a word is also a signifier. You know, it's a sign of the thing that you're referring to. So if I say ship, not the swear word, ship, right? Then it's like, well, obviously there's no ship here. But like I've brought that word here so into our minds.
Yeah, you think
about
ship,
it. So I just, like
Yeah,
I just
and
need to
that's
shift
what-
myself. I need to get
The connotations come with it, and it gets you thinking about a certain thing. Now, because like when you're a kid, when you're like a little child, and you say something like bum bum and willy and pee pee and poo poo, your parents are like, no, don't say words like that. They're bad words, and they're not bad words. And as you grow up, it's like actually it's just childish. So like, but as you get older, we just use the same word, like another way of saying those words, like arse and and the
rectum.
and like they become the new.
I feel like this podcast is just becoming
Just
just for us to.
just a swearing.
Because I had a whole bunch of words I was going to use, but I wrecked them.
Oh no!
Sorry.
The cheek of it. Anyway, so I should think of something else in a minute.
Oh.
But anyway,
You're going to get a ring later. I'm going to call you. Apologies. Anyway, so carry on.
I can't remember. Oh yeah, so we're just using these other words, and it's kind of like, what do you want to bring into the conversation? What do you want to bring into the conversation where you are? Do you want to start using these words? Do you want to start talking about like defecation and urine and all these things? And it's like they're just not nice things to bring in a situation.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's bad language in that sense. However, it can also be used in like you are a F, you are a piece of S, you are like So that and it's like using then you're actually like hating up with someone with it. And I think
using
like
it as like a weapon, eh?
yeah, and like in the UK, it's like with the swearing thing. It's like I was saying, like some places in the UK, everyone swears. You greet each other by using the F word or whatever, but then you can use those exact same words and they can offend somebody. And so it's like it really is the context. It's like actually I don't know you, and actually you've used it in this context, and that's bad. And so I suppose the words in themselves aren't wrong. They are just words, but how we use them is important. And I think also being aware of the connotations that are involved. I believe this is somewhere in Philippians about this, about saying how using bad language and cursing is wrong. But it does go on to say something along the lines of, to like your mates and in the context that depends. I remember one of our good students was having a word with me about this, and he was talking about like how he would banter with his brother and swear, might swear every now and then, but he wouldn't use that in common parlance. I said parlance. I'm very posh.
What's parlance?
Conversation.
Wow, that is posh. See, parlance could be a swear word, and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I guess context is a question, but at the same time, there's a certain like when you hear a swear word, like if you analyze all of, especially the 4-letter swear words, I'm not going to say them, but it's like when you say them, there's a certain kind of effect that is produced, and that is a quick, sharp kind of like, let's just say I'll say duck, which rhymes obviously, but it's like. Even in the word duck, like it's when you say it, there's the sounds that are coming from your mouth, they have like a sharp or like a sudden effect.
The percussive.
Exactly. So they're like onomatopoeic. Right. And so often I think when you think about like the evolution of swear words, where did they come from? Well, I guess often like it's just from frustration, and people are just like cack or whatever. Which means poop.
Yeah.
And there are like a million different words for poop.
Yeah.
And but I was thinking like it's just kind of ridiculous. Like when people might say, "Oh, I don't mean swearing. I don't mean to be harmful. It's just part of my vocabulary." Well, when you think about what most swear words mean, that it's usually something sexual or something kind of dirty to do with the body or about a body part. Right, or about sexual action.
Yeah.
And so it's like you may as well be having conversations and just be throwing in anatomy terms to people. Be like, so I was going down to the park, illicit sex, and then I saw a boob guy who was, it's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And maybe even as you're hearing me say this, you're kind of thinking, oh, this is not appropriate for a podcast. Exactly. We're trying to make a point here, which is like...
And if you're not thinking that, you probably should be.
Yeah. But it's like... I think when you get to the heart of it all...
Yes.
And you kind of think, am I a Christian? Yes.
Yes.
Is swearing wrong? Well, I don't think it's right. You know. So it's either wrong or it's kind of probably useless. But it also it could be harmful. And I think one of the most one of the clearest things you could say about it is it shows a lack of self-mastery.
That's true. That's
because it's like, it's not a good thing to do, but either you've kind of just let your standards slip, or you've bought into peer pressure from friends who swear. So really that's not something to aspire to, not being able to control the words you say.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like having Tourette's.
Yeah, especially like the, trying to fit in with somebody else. It's kind of like, because as Christians, our aim should always be to be more Christ-like, to be more Christian. So that's who we should be wanting to fit in with. And if there's a group of people, it's like, oh, these guys swear all the time, and I swear when I hang out with them because it makes me feel more part of that group. It's like, well, I mean, that there is a goodness in that, in that you can relate with people and people can relate with you. However, is it not better to relate with them in a different way that makes them better and makes you better? But I think, you mentioned like, sometimes I think swearing does have a use, and it's not about the words, because you mentioned like how frustration is like, so, when you're frustrated, sometimes you'll swear. And like, as you said, like with duck, it's a percussive word and it makes you feel better. And there has been studies shown that people that swear are generally more honest and, they deal with anger and frustration better. And I think it's because you have these little outlets. Yeah. And so that's where I started using different words that are percussive, like tuppence. Percussive, I couldn't get my words out there. And like, like boots and cats, and like, because that's your standard how to beatbox.
Black boy peaches.
Yeah, right. And just anything. Shoes and socks. And it gets that little vent out, and it's like, and you can get on with your day, kind of thing.
The thing is, it still wouldn't be socially acceptable for you to be going down Queen Street, stub your toe, and go shoes and socks. People are going to be like, what a vile man. Shouting.
I don't shout it. Come on, man.
You're pretty obnoxious.
I am pretty. Now, this is a different topic, but I am not intentionally loud, and we'll just leave it at that. It's just
a human megaphone.
My normal level is louder than everyone else's.
Which is why you shouldn't swear.
But anyway, as I was saying, it kind of does have a use, in that it gets that little vent out, and like, it'd be better that you say something a little bit percussive just in that one little instrument, maybe quietly. But it's better that you say something like that than let it build up.
Just someone hurts you.
Fiddlesticks. What did you say? Nothing. Tuppence.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like, because if we think, well, what's the remedy for swearing then? How do we, if we need to vent, what does it say about us? But what is the remedy? Is it saying crumbs? Is it saying fiddlesticks? Or is it taking it a step back and kind of saying, when something bad happens to me, why is it my first response? Why is it anger? Why is it frustration?
A bit of mindfulness.
And I think mindfulness is really important. Get yourself a colouring book. Ooh. And with all the swear words you usually say, and colour them in. No, but if you when you think about it, right, it's like, why do I do that?
Yes.
It's just a bad habit.
Yes.
It's like, if the first response that comes out of your mouth is something that's just a bit vulgar. It's not necessarily like offensive to anyone, but it's just like, okay, well, and I think in Scripture Jesus says as well, like, by your fruits you will know them. And I think that he kind of said, like, as well, basically it's whatever is excess within you is what people see, right? So what people see of me is like the overflow of my personality. So if they see me being lazy all the time, well, that's coming from the manifestation of my laziness.
Yes.
If they see me being angry all the time, then it's probably because, like, inside I have a problem with anger that I'm not dealing with properly, and so it comes out in all these short little spurts.
Yes.
And I mean, even as I say it, I'm convicted to think, okay, I need to pray into that area. I need to practice a bit of self-mastery, have a bit more mindfulness, and as well, it gives you a really good opportunity if you use swearing a lot to be funny. It gives you a great opportunity to say, actually, I'm going to try and kind of hone my humour in a way that actually can make people laugh, but can also build them up at the same time. Yeah,
and I think it's very much about that witness. It's like, who are we showing Christ to these other people? And thinking, okay, why am I swearing? Every so often, just because I'm a bit frustrated, okay. But if that frustration is getting more and more, something I need to pray about. Yeah. Something I used to do. When we hear the gospel, we cross our forehead, our lips, and it's like, Christ be my mind on my lips. And if I find I'm swearing a lot, I'll just in the day I'll just go, okay, Christ be on my lips. And then it's just a little reminder you can do just to maybe stop swearing so much and just think into, am I being the best example of Christ on earth right now.
And I guess in closing, if I'd say, if you have a problem with taking the Lord's name in vain, like, that's the worst in my mind. But, just think, if I said the Lord's name in earnest as many times as I say it as a swear word in front of my friends, what kind of effect would that have on them? Thanks for joining us for the podcast. It's awesome having you guys every time. You're the best.
Mulled wine tea is also very good. God bless. Hey guys, thanks for watching the podcast. I've got good news. It just got a whole lot easier to search for us online.
All you got to do is search Gregorian Chat into YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, and Player FM for those who are on Android.
Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. See you later. God bless.